So you'll see here, the patient card is basically automatically elevating and bringing itself to the actual patient, in this case the patient model, and it's rotating to the optimal configuration based on preset anatomy and the approach that we're taking to the patient. So one thing I'll point out here that you'll notice is we've combined the functionality of a rotating boom with the mobility of a patient side card. So that gives you a couple things. One is it allows you to place the card at virtually any position around the patient. It gives you an incredible amount of flexibility. And in addition to that, this actually rotates almost 360 degrees. So you basically enable full 4-quadrant access without having to move the base of the card. So what I'm going to ask Nam to do now is actually the other technology that we've employed is laser technology. And the first of which is now you have a visual guide that allows you to tell yourself when you're exactly over the patient or the target port. There's no guesswork anymore. It takes the guesswork completely out of it. So now that Nam has the boom over the target port, I want to demonstrate a couple things. One is you'll notice that we have smaller, thinner arms that come over the patient versus from the side, and that they rotate and they actually move in parallel in the same range of motion, minimizing the likelihood of collisions. It actually gives you a much more flexible port placement. You'll see here the range of motion substantially greater than what we've had before. And we're also demonstrating a new feature which is called grab and move. The best interface is no interface. And to move these arms and position the arms now, all you have to do is grab them, move them, let go, and they lock into place. You also have the old school way of doing it with the port clutch button and instrument. That's still available, but now you also have this grab and move feature. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to have Nam actually dock the camera arm to the cannula. So many of you back there may not be able to hear this, but we have voice guidance technology now that actually walks you through every step of the setup process. Or if you skip the step, it'll actually remind you. So now it's actually instructing us to actually insert the endoscope. I'm going to have Nam go ahead and do that. So here, what Nam's going to do is actually employ the second benefit of laser targeting technology is when you point your scope at the target anatomy, the arms and the height of the boom are going to optimally configure themselves depending on what part of the anatomy you're pointing at. So the days of sweet spot and configuration and guesswork are really substantially minimized. So you'll see in this case that Nam is a couple seconds away from the okay. So Nam is basically just finished his targeting, and now the arms are optimized in the proper location. So what we'll do now is actually mount the other 3 arms. The other element of this that I wanted to point out is you'll notice that all the arms have a common arm design. And what that enables us to do is actually place the camera on any of the arms, giving you the ability to view anatomy from different perspectives, or port hop. So we've eliminated the concept of a camera arm. You have complete versatility and flexibility in placing where the scope goes. The other thing I'm going to point out that you're going to notice is our arms actually redesigned. You'll notice this additional joint that I'm pointing to. We have a patient clearance function that does 2 things. One is when you're docked, you can actually toggle up, and if you want to avoid an external collision with the patient, you actually can adjust the clearance of this joint. So if I bring this up, if I have a raised knee, for example, I can modify that as necessary. Alternatively, if I toggle down, this is going to take a couple seconds, I actually have created additional range of motion for my arm. I've given myself additional pitch. You can see that. So additional versatility and flexibility in port placement and your range of motion that will give you access to a larger surgical workspace. The other thing we're going to point out is what I'm going to have Nam do is a couple additional functions that are available to the surgeon through the surgeon console is actually the ability to go from a 30-degree up to 30-degree down with basically a press of a button. Traditionally, this has been a function where you'd have to remove this, prep your 30-degree down scope and reinsert it. We've eliminated all of that, which can be minutes of effort, into a click of a button. So I'll go ahead and have Nam do that. So now you just basically went from a 30-degree down to up. I'll have him flip it back. So just to give you a sense of ease of use, again, fundamental design and making sure that this is a repeatable procedure and setup. The other functionality I want to point out from the surgeon console is the ability to take high-resolution images, again, with the press of a button. So Nam's going to go ahead and take a picture from the surgeon console. Whatever you see in your surgical site now, you can take a high-resolution image. You plug in a USB key to the video processor here, and you can save your surgical images. You can perform the same function on the vision cart monitor or even on the endoscope. The last thing I'm going to mention is the surgeon console by design has a very familiar look and feel to that of the SI. There's been some enhancements to the UI from a simplicity perspective, but the big key takeaway from the surgeon console is you have access now to advanced technologies. For example, advanced instruments with wristed motion, whether that's the stapler or vessel sealer. I encourage you to test drive those in the XI over there on the side. We have a brand new skills simulator. It's a unique simulator to the XI system. We have a brand new graphics interface, new modules, and the beginning of patient side cart simulation for the perioperative staff. A big paradigm shift from surgeon skills simulation and surgeon console to perioperative staff simulation on the patient cart. And last but not least is we have an integrated energy unit. I know it's tough to see here. We partnered with Urbe, and we have the BioDV that basically allows you to enable a one-stop energy shop for your energy needs, whether it's your vessel sealer, whether it's your mono or bipolar instruments, all in one unit, all integrated into our vision card. So those are really the high-level overview. I'd encourage you to come up and see the system in person, and we look forward to answering your questions.